Set 11 years after the events of the original film, the young John Connor is somehow the key to civilization's survival against a robot uprising. The shape-shifting T-1000 sent by Skynet from the future to kill him in the past. So our old pal Arnie, the T-800, has also been sent back to protect him. The highest grossing film of 1991, as well as the most expensive movie ever made up to that point, was a pretty much universal success, and spawned a bunch of video games as you might expect. The Game Boy version has 6 levels, all with varying gameplay styles. The first level takes place on a war-torn wasteland. There's a lot happening on the screen, both in the foreground and the background. Each element of it looks great individually, from the sprite animations to the battles going on in the background, but I'm undecided as to whether it's all too much to take in at one time. Still, a great looking effort that was executed with barely any lag or flicker. This is one relentless game. Don't take your eyes off the screen for a second. Enemies constantly respawn from all sides, left, right, from the air. The assault does not stop. Honestly, I think your best bet is just to book it, shooting what you can. You won't destroy everything without taking a buttload of hits yourself, so maybe just focus on the task at hand and preserve some of that energy bar. It's not a left-to-right run-and-gun affair like, say, Operation C. You can move back and forth around the shooter levels. In fact, you often have to. On level 1, you have to destroy 5 control towers of varying height. You have to run back and forward across the level and destroy them in height order, tallest to lowest. Do it in the wrong order and you'll have to start over, but get it right and this machine comes out. This thing takes a lot of shots to kill, something like 20, and you can't hit its lower part. You'll have to jump, fire off 2 or 3 blasts into the head, then crouch to avoid its shots. The difficulty here comes not from the boss's firing patterns, it barely does anything, but from the input lag between crouching, coming out of the crouch, and jumping. It's almost as if you have to let the previous animation finish before it'll accept any further inputs. If your guy isn't fully out of his crouching position, the jump button ain't doing anything, and you'll probably get hit. Factor in that the constant carnage from enemies has not stopped either. Planes will still be dropping bombs on you, and grunts will still accost you from both sides. I'm exhausted already, and that's just the first stage. Although tiredness will soon be put to bed, as it were, so don't fear. That health bar that felt so generous before, that's all you're getting, John. It doesn't refill. Ever, and you get 1 life, and no continues. How anyone is ever supposed to get to the end of this game, I have no idea. Just get good, I suppose. The second stage is a multi-layer affair, featuring more of a platforming emphasis. You have to find the correct door where T-800 model Terminators are maintained in order to hack one and use it to your own advantage. Here's where the game switches things up a bit. You're thrown into a screen of a circuit board, and your job is to, pipe dream style, move and rotate various parts of the grid to complete the circuits in the time limit. Unlike the health bar, this time limit is far from generous, sticking with the rock-hard difficulty pattern we've seen so far. Time runs out, it's game over. Get through a few of these puzzles and you're on to yet another type of stage, an auto-scrolling motorbike scene where John Connor is racing through dangerous streets with the T-800 on his back, shooting at this truck that's chasing you. You're both controlling the bike without crashing into oil drums and Arnie's gun, shooting forwards and behind. Brutally tricky as ever. Terminator 2 Judgment Day was developed by British company Bits Studios. During production, they obviously consulted with the film company to make sure everything was up to scratch with the license holders. One of the points that constantly got referred back to them from the American production company was that Sarah Connor's bangs were too small in the game. Being British, the folks at Bits had no clue what bangs were. It's something to do with her hair, if you were wondering, so repeatedly made her boobs bigger instead, as you do. I wish I knew how many times they went back and forward before the translation was made for them. The results probably wouldn't be PG anymore. The music is pretty killer throughout. The intro theme especially has some of those divine low-end booms that you frequently got with these sorts of games. The sound effects don't override the driving, up-tempo music, but complement it. As usual with anything LJN had a hand in on the Game Boy, the presentation is properly impressive. Each stage is of a unique design. Aside from the overloaded first level, the graphics are spot on. As well as that, the gameplay switches up between levels in a seamless way that follows the plot of the film like few other tie-ins on the Game Boy did. Especially that last level. I won't spoil it for you, but wow. The downside for me is the difficulty, partly brought about by stiff controls, but mainly just the relentless nature of the stages. This level of challenge was obviously done to elongate what is quite a short game. Hey, it's not the only game of the era that did this, and it's not impossible. I know, I saw a video. A very cool little piece that might be one of the best movie tie-ins the system had.